Tuning in, I want to discuss as a salesperson and as an investor in the Greater Toronto Area what I expect the real estate market in Toronto to do over the next year, over 2018. I want to share that information with you. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas around here. You can see we've decorated. We've got a baby due any day now, and we want this place to look as Christmassy as possible. I know I loved it growing up, and we're excited to share that. And so let's jump right into it. This is going to be the final tip and trick of the year for you guys for 2017, and I want to really wrap everything up in a nice little bow for us to consider what has happened in 2017 and to give you guys some insight in what I expect will happen in 2018. Does that sound fair? Okay, here we go. So let's start off by talking about last month, just to kind of figure out where we're at. And then I want to get into the big changes and I want to get into these predictions. So just looking quickly over 2017 November, last month, the detached and the semi-detached were about 5% increase, and they seem to be kind of in this balanced market right now. But looking at the townhomes, are up 12%, and they're in a seller's market, and condo apartments are up a whopping 22%. And they, of course, are in a seller's market, and they've been in that for the last little while. We've done numerous videos on this. Overall, as a sale price, and what you're going to hear in the newspapers is that sell price is down 2%. Now, this is mostly because this high-rise segment, these detached luxury homes, have been pretty much taken off the market and aren't selling, which has naturally drawn down that sell price. But of course, each segment seems to be growing at its own pace. So that's where we're at. Now, you guys will recall in 2017, we had this kind of foreign buyer tax that took everybody by storm and really threw off the market and cooled all of these segments except for the condo market. Now, I make the argument, and I think it's a general consensus, that seems to have faded. The implications of that, what kind of that did to the market is kind of ceased to happen. But there are a number of other things that are now coming and going to be taking effect into 2018 that we want to keep our eyes on. Okay, so these are the big ones, and feel free to add to my list. If I missed any, you can put them below. First off is the mortgage stress test. I did a video on this last month. As of January 1st, there's going to be a stress test for anyone that is putting down more than 20%. So nobody is exempted. There's going to be naturally a bit of decrease in the applications for mortgages. That combined with an interest rate increase, we've already seen 2 of them happen this year. But of course, the Bank of Canada late this year decided to keep it the same, but there's definitely talk that they will be increasing it into the new year. So keep an eye for that. We're going to see a ridiculous amount of renewals, many people jumping into the market just to avoid this increasing interest rate into 2018. We talked about, and actually, while I'm on that point of interest rates, we did do a video of that 5 months ago. You can check out the consequences of an interest rate hike. Talking about an Airbnb change, we did a video 2 weeks ago, and they've just this past week announced Airbnb exactly how we described it would be 2 weeks ago. They are going to be making it impossible for anyone to run an Airbnb, thereby changing 3,200 units estimated from short-term rentals to long-term rentals in the city of Toronto. So watch for that. We're going to see this big influx, and they've stamped that date for July 1st, 2018, which is a key date, and I'm going to get into that into the predictions for next year. And finally, the one that's still a big unknown for me as well, because there's really no talk about it, is this vacant home tax. We haven't really done any videos on this, but what exactly is that going to look like? There are 28,000 vacant units in the city of Toronto, and they have permission to tax these guys. There hasn't been any date set for that. There hasn't been any further updates on what they've decided. So that'll be something to watch for in 2018, because that could have a serious change in supply for condos downtown Toronto. Let me know if I missed any of these changes. If there's anything that you guys want to add, I'd love to hear it. And now I want to jump straight into predictions. So these are the main reasons why I'm making these calls. But I really want to share kind of what my thoughts are. You really want to be 6 months ahead. And usually my predictions are 6 months ahead. But I kind of want to try and shed on the entirety of 2018 and what that's going to look like. Now, first off, going from January until June, the first 6 months, I think from the way things are going, condo apartments will continue to outperform other segments in the GTA. Okay, I think that's just a reality. I did a video on this 2 months ago talking about when this price acceleration of condos will slow down. Feel free to check that out. And the real reason why condos have done so well is there's been this constant push towards these affordable homes, and there's been this mindset change for first-time buyers, and now I'm actually seeing for retirees that are all okay with condos and fine with the box in the sky mindset, and it just works for them. And the lifestyle is offering one that they really want. And It's doing very well. But I think the price acceleration is catching up over the last 4 or 5 years. If you check out the video, you see what I mean. 4 or 5 years, and it's only a matter of time before that acceleration needs to slow down and come to a reasonable amount compared to the low-rise segment. And I think that all things considered, we're looking at that being mid-year, the end of June. And to really hammer this home, the Airbnb is going to happen in July 1st. So we know that they're doing all of these things to increase supply all around the mid-year range. So I think that with the speed and the predictions that I've had as far as how much more price growth is available for these condos until they kind of top out where they no longer can do well compared to the low rise, they need to be more balanced. I think that's pointing to a mid-2018 timeframe. All the while looking at low rise, so if you're one of these detached or townhomes or semi-detached homes, you guys can expect things to really start to pick up. And I've used this number before, but I want to shed some light on why. By May 2018, I think things are going to start to work in your favor. The main reason being, everything we do as far as comparing prices is year over year, okay? Now, April in 2017 was a big month because that was taking us into May, and May every single year is a historical high as far as price. But as of 2017, it never was able to hit that number because this foreign buyer tax was implemented, and actually May tanked. In fact, if you go a few months after, the prices had dropped almost 30% in certain areas. So it really didn't do well. Now, right now, the comparisons that we're using when we're hearing 2% down or pretty much flatlined as far as price is comparing against the year before, which was record high growth rates. Remember, we were doing 30% growth rates. All of this, I think, is going to top out, just naturally, it'll top out by May, June, because these numbers will now become more real, and we'll be comparing against a time frame in 2017 that was doing pretty bad, all things considered. And so what people are going to do is they're going to start to see these numbers in May, June are seeming like they're picking up. And we're going to say, hey, wait a minute, why are the prices accelerating so quickly? And then, of course, people will jump into the low rise again. And I think that's what's going to get the train rolling. And so the real dates to watch for is May, June. So if you want to get into the low rise, I would do it before that, while things are pretty much flatlined and people haven't really hinted to the fact that we're pretty much, the consequences of the foreign tax have pretty much subsided, and we're moving forward at this point. That's the main Coles notes of what I see happening in 2018 for the various segments. Leave your comments if I missed anything. If you have any questions, leave them. This is going to be the last major video I'm going to do for this year. Next week, I have a surprise for you, and I'm going to walk you through a condo that we just purchased with my clients downtown Toronto. They're very excited. It's a very unique layout. I'm excited to share that with you. And otherwise, I'll see you guys into the new year. So take care and keep it real.